Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video. I am back home and we are going to start doing the reading challenges and the reading vlogs again. So I hope you guys liked all the travel videos. I'm going to do so much more because I have another trip planned for the end of the year and I have so many videos planned that I'm very excited about. But in this video we're going to do a spooky week. So we're going to read spooky books that you would want to read on Halloween, like Halloween inspired books, those kind of vibes. I have four books here that I want to read this week. Today is Monday, October 23rd, so let's see if I can read 4 books this week. And when I say week, I mean Monday through Friday because those are my reading days. Okay, the first book that I have here that I did start a while ago, but I think I'm just gonna have to reread it because I don't remember a single thing about it, is A Winter's Promise by Christelle Davos. It's this one. This is part of a series, and this one just screams kind of like Harry Potter vibes, all those vibes that I love, and I am very excited to read this one. So this is the first book on the list. I also have The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This book series has been everywhere for a while. Like on YouTube I've seen it like so much, and I've heard so many great things about this series, so I'm very excited to get into it. Kind of like a short read, to be honest. It's a mystery. I don't know anything else about it, but I am very excited to read it. So this is the other one on the list. Then a classic at this point, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, that I never read, but I recently got it. It was on sale in Target, so I just picked this one up. It's also, I think it's a murder mystery. It's a mystery or something, and I'm very excited to read this because I know like a lot of people love this book, and it just screams Halloween and like spooky vibes. Very excited. And the last one that I have here is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. This is kind of like a standalone, supposedly, but it's in the same world as the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I have heard that you don't need to read the Kingdom of the Wicked series to be able to read this one, but I think I heard that one of the main characters of this book is mentioned and is introduced in one of the Kingdom of the Wicked books. So I'm not so sure about that, but I'm still gonna read this one as a standalone because I haven't finished Kingdom of the Wicked and I don't think I am going to finish it anytime soon. But I think the book that we're gonna start with is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes because this is the one that I'm most excited about. And then depending on how I'm feeling, if I want like a different type of book, maybe a fantasy, I'm gonna pick up this one. Well, The Naturals I also got from Barnes. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder I got from Target, and Throne of the Fallen, this cover I got from Barnes. So let's go ahead and get started with this one because I need to get to reading. I want to finish this book today if it's possible, but I know I can do it. So let's do it. Okay, I'm on page 63 and I've been using the Bookly app to track my reading time. I'm going to see how long it takes me to read this book with the app and I'll get back to you. But oh my gosh, I just know that I'm going to love this book so much. Okay, this book is about Cassie. Cassie lives with her grandmother and her other relatives because her father is not really in the picture and her mother died from a kind of like an unresolved murder type of thing, and she is really good at profiling people. Like she can tell how people are just by looking at them or by like watching how they act. It's a really fascinating thing to read, and Cassie gets selected for this like program from the FBI to basically help the FBI catch, I think, serial killers and like murderers, etc., and like to close cold cases. My battery died and I completely forgot what I was talking about, but that Cassie is basically being trained as a profiler to help with cold cases. So Now she's getting to know like the other people that have abilities, the other teens living at the house that she's living at. There's Leah, Sloane, Michael, Dean. So Dean is also a profiler that has like a deep dark past. Then Michael is, I think he reads emotions. Then Sloane is kind of like a very intelligent person with numbers, and then Leah, which is basically a human lie detector. They are a bunch of very interesting people, to say the least. I'm on page 165 and I literally cannot stop reading. It just sucks you in so badly. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it so much, and I literally feel the cliffhanger happening. I just feel like I'm gonna finish this book and it's gonna have a cliffhanger and I'm going to be so mad. It's been so cool and kind of scary at the same time because these are people trying to get into the minds of serial killers, and it's very creepy and it's very creepy. It's just a lot. I am literally so hypnotized by this book. I am sweating. I'm on page 247 and my mind is blown. Like, what the hell? Like, this is one of the most captivating murder mysteries I have ever read in my entire life. This could be like easy one of the best books I've read this year. Like, I cannot explain to you how just captivating this book is. Like, you cannot stop reading. You physically, your eyes are glued to the pages. I feel like this book is gonna have the biggest plot twist. And if it doesn't have the biggest freaking plot twist, I'm gonna be so mad. Okay, let's talk about this book because I have quite a few feelings, different feelings of how this entire series is gonna go, but I finished the book in 3 hours. That is kind of like a record for me, I think. I just cannot stop reading. But definitely this is gonna be a 5-star read. I don't care if the other books are better. I feel like it's a 5-star read. Again, you guys know the backstory to it, but the actual story is that there is a serial killer on the loose, and they're actively trying to find out who this person is. So the thing is that one of the like naturals, or one of the teens with the abilities, is being targeted by the serial killer. So the entire story is like them trying to protect this person, them trying to find out who this person is, and then at the end you do find out who this person is. However, there is another story, another cold case that hasn't been resolved. So I'm thinking that this entire series is gonna build up to that cold case, that like the discovering of that cold case. I'm not gonna say which one. Yeah, I personally think that the entire story is gonna build up to the last book and like the last cold case. I don't know how that's gonna go, but to be honest, like I could be wrong. I'm just speculating, but oh my gosh, I love this book so freaking much. It's so insane how an author can write such believable books. Like, how do you write a book like this? Like, do you study a lot? Like, do you watch so many I don't know, like serial killer movies and shit? Because that is insane. Wow, just wow. Okay, that was a great first book. I had a good feeling and it was a good feeling. Okay, I definitely need a different type of book next. I don't think I can read all of these books at once, like the entire series at once, because I feel like I'm gonna go a little crazy. So I think I need a few books in between. So we're gonna read A Winter's Promise, as I said before. I don't know why, but we have like a blue thing going on, blue cover thing going on, and I love it. Let's see if I like it, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue reading today. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but I will catch you guys up when I start this book.
Ophelia stood still for a moment in the doorway. She watched the threads of sunlight slide slowly across the floorboards as the day broke. It made Ophelia want, above all, to touch nothing. He'd always had a soft spot for his great niece, doubtless because, of all the family, she was the one who most resembled him.
It is Wednesday, October 25th, and I haven't read since Monday because yesterday was such a hectic day, so I just could not read in that moment. Instead, I watched Harry Potter, which was very good. I still need to finish movie number 7, part 1 and 2. Okay, so there's been a change because I've been trying to get into A Winter's Promise, and to be quite honest, I don't think I can read it right now. Like, I don't know if it's like, kind of like the vibes, like it is giving like fantasy fall vibes, but it is not giving spooky vibes. So yeah, I'm just gonna switch up the book, and we're gonna be reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and I'm very excited to read this one. I think I'm the last person in the whole universe to read this book, but you know what? It's never too late. I am very excited. I have no idea what this book is about. Like, obviously the title kind of gives you a little hint, but I don't know shit. So let's see what this book is about. It is 12 p.m. I just had lunch. I have my coffee, and I am full of energy to start reading this book. I'm gonna use the Bookly app to track my reading time. I want to read until 5 p.m. until I finish this book. Okay, so the story is about this girl who is doing her capstone project, her senior capstone project, which is basically like a thesis, an individual thesis where you have to like research something and do like a whole thesis about it. So she chose a story of a local girl's murder, which was Andy Bell. So Andy Bell was supposedly murdered by her boyfriend, Sal Singh. So the main character, Peep, I'm gonna call her Peep because I'm not sure if it's pronounced Pipe, Peep. I'm just gonna say Peep. That's how it sounds in my head. It's literally P-I-P. So I'm just gonna say Peep. So the main character, Peep, believes that Sal Singh had nothing to do with his girlfriend's murder. So she believes that Sal did not murder his girlfriend, which is Andy Bell. And it is a whole situation because I'm on page 30 and it goes explaining all of what happened 5 years ago. So Andy's murder 5 years ago. And basically one night, Andy went missing. So her parents started looking for her. They filed a missing persons police report, and they all started looking for her. And then that was a Friday night. And all of Sal's best friends were his alibi. They all said that Sal was with them that night in a house, like hanging out. They were all hanging out. But then that Tuesday came, and those best friends told the police that they were lying, that Sal actually left early, and he didn't leave at the time he said he did leave. So imagine the murder happened between 10:30 p.m. and 12:50 a.m. And Sal left the hangout party, whatever you want to call it, at 10:30 p.m. at night. And supposedly he told the police that he left at 12 something at night. And his best friends also corroborated with his story. And then on Tuesday, when all of his best friends told the police that he actually left early around 10:30 p.m., then obviously Saul was now the like number one suspect. And the thing that gave him away basically is that he unalived himself that same day. So they weren't able to question him, they weren't able to get anything off of him, and they weren't able to find Andy's body. So that all happened, and because Saul did unalive himself, everyone just presumed that he did it. Because it's weird, right? So now, 5 years later, our main character, Peep, is trying to discover what truly happened. So she's trying to like interview different journalists, to interview different people, so the Bell family and the Singh's family, and she's going to try to show the world that Sal Singh did not murder Andy. So that is where I'm at, and it's very interesting. I love the writing style because it is in third person, but we have a lot of like journal entries from the main character that feels like first person. So it's very interesting when you have a lot of interviews as well. So it's very fast paced. I'm loving it. Sorry for the long explanation, but you guys know that I always explain the first parts of the book. So let's keep reading. This is getting interesting. I'm on page 90, and to be honest, I feel like I've been reading forever. I don't know why, because this book is kind of fast-paced, but I think it's the writing style, because it's a lot of interviews and different things, but it is interesting. Like, I'm not bored at all, so that's good. So this is turning into like a full-on investigation at this point. Like, this girl, the main character, Peep, has talked to pretty much everyone except Andy's family, but everything just seems very like sneaky and sketchy about Andy now, because Andy is not the girl everyone thinks she was. And literally the last page I read really reminded me of Pretty Little Liars, and I forgot her name. Wait. If you've watched Pretty Little Liars, you know Allie. Allie was a girl that disappeared. So Andy is giving Allie vibes. To me, at least. I don't know, that's the best way to explain it, but this book is so good so far. I am eating it up. It is 2:30 p.m. and let's continue reading, because I am gonna finish this book today. So many secrets are being discovered. I really don't know who did it, because there are so many suspects at this point, like so many people. Like, Peep has talked to so many people. I don't know. Shit is getting so real that I am sweating, okay? I am freaking sweating. I'm so nervous. How do I explain the main character? If you've seen the TV series Veronica Mars, the main character is exactly like her. She is Veronica Mars in a book, and I love it. I'm just so nervous because I know, like, probably something bad is gonna happen to the main character, and I'm nervous. What? What the hell? This is so confusing. I finished the book. I'm gonna go eat because I have been reading for 4 hours straight, and we're gonna talk about it. This book was just absolutely amazing. Like, I've had a great reading week so far. Like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. I think I just really liked the naturals and that kind of vibe. And this is also kind of like a murder mystery. It was very like hectic, nerve-wracking, but exciting at the same time. I loved the main character. There were so many plot twists that just had me gripping the book. And honestly, the plot twist at the end did not disappoint. I thought this book was going to end in a cliffhanger, because there are other books in the series, which I honestly, like, now that I like look back at it, I don't know what the other books are about, because I feel like it is a complete book. Maybe there were no cliffhangers, no questions left unanswered. I felt like I could be wrong, but we have the answer. If you know, you know. But it was a great book. It was a great book. I loved it. I think I'm gonna rate it 4.8 out of 5 stars, just because there are other books in the series, and I did love the book, but I don't think I loved it more than The Naturals. So I'm gonna give it a 4.8 for now. But tomorrow I'm going to be reading another book. I think I'm gonna read The Silent Patient, because I've never read it. I did actually have the book. I had the physical book. I don't know what happened to it. I have been searching for it like for 30 minutes. I just cannot find it. I think I don't know if I gave it away, but I'm going to download it off my Kindle. But today it was Chef's Kiss. Success. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good morning. Okay, it is October 26th. It is Thursday, and today we're going to be reading The Silent Patient. I am hopeful that I'm going to like this, and I feel like I'm going to read it very quickly. It doesn't have as many pages as I thought it had. I'm gonna read it off my Kindle this time because I don't have the physical book. I am very excited. I'm gonna use the Bookly app to track my reading time. I'm gonna start reading, and I will catch you guys up when I read like 50 pages. As always, I'm gonna tell you what the book is about. So let's roll the clip. Let's start. Okay, I'm on page 112, and let's talk about this book. So this book is about the story of Alicia Berenson and how she murdered her husband. She basically just shot him a bunch of times in the face, and tied him up and killed him. And that is kind of like the prologue, right? That is the base of the story here. And then comes the main character of the story, which is Theo. He's a psychotherapist, and he has this drive to find out what really happened, because not only did Alicia did all of this and she was convicted, but she hasn't spoken a word since that happened. She literally hasn't spoken a word, and she's in a psychiatric hospital kind of thing, and she's like heavily medicated. She's been in this hospital for 6 years. So he's now trying to talk with Alicia to see what really happened with her and with everything. But we also get the story of Theo himself, how his childhood was, all of his traumas, all of his emotional baggage, and that he still struggles with. We also have Theo's wife, which is another part of the story. I am getting to that. I am not feeling very, very drawn to the book like with the other ones, but I don't know, like I'm gonna give it a shot. This is definitely the creepiest book out of the 2 I've read this week. They all have been creepy, but this one just really is mentally very creepy. I wouldn't say that I am like gripping the pages or like obsessed with the writing. So far it feels a little slow. Like the story feels a little slow. It doesn't have a lot to go on. I'm just waiting for it to like pick up and like things getting somewhere. I finished reading the book, and to be honest, it's a solid 2.5 or maybe 3. It was not a good book. Like, it's so confusing. I cannot tell you how confusing this book is. It is so slow. It does have a plot twist and whatever, but it was like, really? It was just very annoying. The story was so slow and all over the place. I did not like it. I did not like it. Honestly, it was not worth the read. I think it's one of my least favorite books I've read in a while, because I usually tend to DNF books that I don't like, but because I did want to know what happened, I kept reading. But it was like, really? Just not for me. Okay, let's continue. That was not good. I'm gonna read another book tomorrow, and the book that I'm gonna read is Lila, whatever you want to call it, by Colleen Hoover. I've heard great things about this book. I think it's one of her like most not talked about books. Let's see what happens tomorrow, if I end up reading it or not. But I'm just very disappointed. I just don't even want to talk about it. I'm like annoyed. Good morning. Okay, I'm in a better mood today because yesterday's reading was not it. Today we're going to be reading another book, and I have high hopes for this one. I saw a book review on TikTok of a girl talking about this book, and she was like raving about it. So we're going to be reading A Flicker in the Light by Stacey Willingham. This one right here. I have my Book of the Month copy, and I'm very excited that I have this copy. I just love Book of the Month books, like the actual books. We're gonna be reading this book. This book is basically another mystery, another murder mystery. I think it's like a serial killer on the loose kind of thing. So let's see if we like it. Okay, I'm on page 71, and from what I can understand, the main character, which name is, so her name is Chloe. She is a psychologist. So we're going into kind of like the same vibe as the last book, but obviously it's not the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna explain. So Chloe is a psychologist, and she has like a very traumatic childhood. She has a brother and now a fiance of a year. The fiance is Daniel, and then her brother is Cooper. So she's just basically living her life, being a psychologist, but she has a lot of like trauma from her past. So she constantly takes like anxiety pills or pills for like the pain, any type of pain that she has. She's kind of addicted. So there's that. But their actual trauma, like her and her brothers, is that when she was 12 and her brother was 15, their father was convicted of killing, like doing horrible things to 6 girls. 6 or 7? I think it was 6. 6 girls, teenage girls. He supposedly killed them all. So basically her father was a serial killer. He's been in prison ever since. So now the 20th anniversary of what happened is coming soon on July. So this story is set in May and June, and I'm guessing July. I am in June right now, but I feel like this book is gonna be good. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I'm not I'm not really yet like very involved in the book and the storyline, but I'm getting there. I'm hoping that it picks up a bit of pace and it gets interesting, so let's see what happens. Okay, so this book is kind of like a copycat serial killer of the main character's father. I think that's what it is from what I've been reading. Let's see, but I'm on page 133. It's good, but I'm not like ripping the pages and so excited to read it. To be honest, I don't know if it's because I've read so many books of serial killers this week or is it just because the story is just not that interesting, or maybe the writing, it's a little bit slow with a lot of backstory. So we have like the entire detailed story of this girl's life and her trauma with her father. So, and like everything that happened with her father and what he did. I hope I can finish this book soon. It is 2:30 p.m. right now. I finished the book, and I have to say I was so pleasantly surprised. I did not see that one coming. The entire book, I thought the guilty person was one person, like the very obvious person. And then I thought, like, wait a second, what if it's this person or this one? But I never imagined the actual person, the actual serial killer. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. That book is good, you guys. To be honest, I was reading it and I think like halfway in, I was still like, well, is this really gonna be good? And then from like the half of the book until the end of the book, it gets so good. And obviously like the last 75 to 50 pages, it was crazy. But I am done with spooky and thriller books. I don't want to read one more book about serial killers. I'm done. My brain is fried at this point. But I'm gonna end the video here. Those were all the 4 books that I read. I cannot believe that I read 4 books. I think my favorite, let's rank them. So my favorite is The Naturals. I love that book so much. The Naturals, then A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, A Flicker in the Dark, and lastly The Silent Patient, which was no. But yeah, okay, those were all the ratings. The Naturals 5 stars, the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder 4.8, The Silent Patient a solid 2.5 or 3, and then A Flicker in the Dark 4.8. Amazing. I am so happy with this week. Love making this video. I hope you guys like the reading vlog and just the vlog in general. I'm gonna do more, don't worry. I always do some type of reading vlog in the week, so make sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I upload more videos, more reading vlogs, because they are coming. And I have a very exciting trip in November that I'm so excited about. I've been waiting for that trip for so many months and I'm so excited for it. So I cannot wait to film for you guys so many videos. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.